Okay, here we go. Check out the stage. I've been wanting to come here to rehearse by myself. It would be fun, wouldn't it? I was just gonna put my headset on, like my MP3 player, and my earbuds, and then just grab my guitar and sing and dance and have a good time. That's what I like to do. I love music a lot, and I'm hoping someday that I will be able to erect a rock and roll ministry with good-hearted people. I care more about where the mind is than the talent. If you play guitar, bass, etc., drums, I think, and you like my music, that's very important to me, then you should connect with me, and maybe over the years we might end up doing something really cool together. You never know. Now's the time to get started. I don't know what happened over here to the tree. I did photo shoots and stuff here. This is one of my favorite parks. In the local Dayton area, it's my favorite. Done music videos here. I came here to hang out, ride my bicycle on the trail. I would like to be here in the local area and maybe run through the park to get exercise and stuff, and maybe come here to work out. Wouldn't that be fun? Do you live somewhere and you work out outside, like you take dumbbells and stuff? Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, they have some fitness equipment at a few of the parks here, and I don't mean to be mean, but I looked at them and it seemed like they're kind of like taking up space. But there are other things and other means to be able to bring like free weights and stuff, and you can work out like in a park like this together, or do like karate, martial arts. That would be fun too. Maybe even boxing. Wouldn't it be neat to be somewhere outside and do boxing and stuff? You know, sparring, not necessarily with people, meaning I don't want to spar with somebody, but punching bags and stuff. I used to take Ishinran karate years ago in order to, in junior high school, because I was being bullied too much when I was in elementary school, and I said now's the time to at least try to do something. I don't like to fight. I can't stand it. So anyway, I voiced my opinion though, don't I? Yes, I do. Yes. Yes. So here it is. Here are my notes, and we're going to go over this really fast. I really want this stuff done, caught up. I'm sharing my whole life story, not to out anything, but because I've realized it's very relieving to me. I've kept a lot of things bottled up my whole life, and then my depression was at extreme high levels. Now I open up, and I would say I'm more personality. Symptoms of extreme highs, anger outbursts, bipolar, yes. Okay, so here we go. 2014 through 2018. Here's what we're gonna do really quick. We're gonna hold on to these words and we're gonna surf fast, ride the wave. Montgomery County would not offer information on low-income apartment locations. We need to do something about this, state of Ohio. I should be able to go into Montgomery County and I should be able to get a whole entire list of low-income apartments and places that accept, Section 8 or any other form of assistance, right? Because that's what it is, assistance. It should be called entitlements. Can we ever turn the assistance around into entitlement? I'm entitled to a home that I want to live in a location I want to live in, that's healthiest for me mentally. How about instead of assistance for food, I tell you I'm entitled to food, especially the most natural resource of food, fruits, vegetables, produce, and the purest form of water, not chlorine. How about not assistance, entitlement? Let's choose other words to grab hold of, meditate on, and speak. Because I don't feel that I've been respected in this field at all, and you'll find out. And one of the things is when I went to Cincinnati, they were beautiful people. I had to talk the lady that I got an apartment out of living there, and I'm glad I did, because of my depression and the size of the apartment. It was kind of like staying in a little hospital room. You know, it didn't even have a bathtub or anything. Not entitled to it, huh? I get it. I get where you're coming from. But for me, this is pathetic. I lived in low-income housing before as a child growing up. I seen throughout my life there were some really nice homes in low income. I'm not saying this wasn't. It wasn't for me. Not to mention the windows were really small and it was up too high, and I realized I better not live too high off the ground considering what I'm dealing with mentally. Why? I'm not going to jump. I'm not suicidal anymore. by the way. I used to be, but I also am convinced that other people were twisting my thoughts with technology. And I believe they do that to a lot of people, especially in the entertainment industry. Did you ever see that look on Kurt Cobain's in New York? What song is that? Where Did You Sleep Last Night? When he takes a deep breath. You think somebody was buzzing his head? You think he's still alive? I think he faked his death because he wanted out of the entertainment industry, like Elvis and stuff. You think Elvis is alive? Or, faked his death? I bet you if we knew how corrupted Elvis Enterprise was, we wouldn't buy anything to do with Elvis ever again. Most likely. If we found out how corrupted everyone was, we would refuse to support him. That's just plain and simple. Okay, so check this out. Montgomery County, when I was here in town, and I was pleading out and I didn't know where to go, and Zot didn't want to help me to find a new home. He could care less. I had to move. It was up to me. Oh, look at this on my arm. You see it? Oh, there it is. What is that? On my arm. Now it's on my leg. Check it out. Hi. Say hi. We gotta get going with this, sweetheart. I never saw that before. I just twanged it on. It's safe. It's coming back to me. Look, it loves me. No, not up my pant leg. Come on. I think it loves me. What do you think? It's trying to cheer me up. It's saying calm down, right? And here's the thing. Check this out. So Montgomery County, I went in there and I asked them, and they said no. And I made a video about that, so I don't want to stress on it. They said no. In other words, for the safety of the tenants, it's not wise to do that. Well, guess what? As somebody who needs housing and is tired of being homeless and bouncing around, and I didn't live in Dayton before, I don't know anything about it. Do you at least have somebody who can help me? Don't you think we should be able to go into a room somewhere and set an appointment and talk to somebody and they can show us all the beautiful housing that is available for us in Dayton and the local area? Maybe throughout this, where do you want to move? Why don't we have something on the internet nowadays that we can browse through all this stuff and try to pick out a home that we want to live in? Why is it that we deserve less because we're considered low income? It doesn't mean I'm lack intelligence. It may mean that I have even more intelligence than the general masses in many areas. And one of them is that I should have freedom and entitlement to know exactly where housing is for me. So I can select a nice home to live in an atmosphere and location that is right for me as a human being. We all have different needs, not just a roof over our head. It goes deeper and deeper than that. So Montgomery County, in my opinion, shame on you. Let's get busy with this. Anybody moving to Dayton, I'm telling you, be careful, all right? I am totally unhappy where I'm living at. And it is mainly the circumstances of where I live and other things I will discuss with you. Not to mention, Dayton has a serious bed bug issue. It's hideous. And I got ideas for that. But because it's an insurance state, insurance companies are a-holes, right? They don't want to take care of things they should take care of. They should be giving us the best of everything, not arguing and fighting that we're not worth it. In my opinion, especially when it's proven that you're on like Social Security or welfare or a means of assistance, entitlement, that alone should say you have to share with me where these apartments are. Because I just submitted a certificate, maybe. Something. Let's get our heads together. I'm submitting you something that says I have entitlement to know where all the low-income housings are. Because I need a home that's right for me. This could be the rest of my life, or it could be the next 5 or 10 years. I need a real home that I want to live in. Why isn't it a joyous occasion to get an apartment? Instead it wasn't. It was a heartbreak. I cried my eyes out many times, multitudes over. I got further away than the direction I wanted to go. Nowhere even close to where I originally wanted to go. Now I'm really in the middle of nowhere. And guess what? There's a lot more going on there. I collapsed on my bed and I cried my eyes out the day that I finally moved in. I had the apartment for a couple months and I wouldn't move in. I didn't want to. I didn't want the apartment. I need the apartment. There's a huge difference. I can't stand living with other people. Can't do it. They kick you out right away. I can't live in other people's direct idea of life. Hey, Zot, by the way, I lived at this apartment now for 4 years. What do you think of that? They didn't kick me out once. Thank you for not kicking me out. Hey, Zot, I can really live somewhere for long-term thinkers In fact, before I even met you, I lived long term, but my circumstances. And when you live with people who invite you in and then they make all these foolish laws that you can't do this, you can't do that, and you have to go against your own heart and be a servant to the property and the person's idea of life, let me tell you something, that person's going to just kick you out. I got kicked out more times living with Zot than I did my whole life prior to that. And now I've been living somewhere for 4 years, Zot, and they didn't kick me out once. Minor stuff. Thank goodness it's good now. I don't ever want to get kicked out again. This should be public information, if only to the people who have a certificate that say I'm seeking housing. Now tell me where these housing developments are. What are my options? So Cincinnati, not working. I'm not going to move to Cincinnati now because I realize since I've been living here, I'm working on my music project. It's therapy for me. For anybody who's seen it, I have a YouTube channel at /Tracilyn. The reason I have 2 of them is because YouTube is corrupted. Yes. Thank you, YouTube, for being corrupted. Now I have 2 channels because everything that I do supposedly is what? It gets flagged for various reasons. I guess I'm naughty, right? Even though I put stuff as adult content, it shouldn't be adult content. And I love children, so I'm very family oriented anyway. Everything that I do, and I'm not the only one, other transsexuals go through the exact same thing. YouTube does everything they can to make other people's life miserable. You have the account there, and then they block all your content. They literally change the view counts. On my YouTube channel with my music, they actually hid. I believe they gave access to my YouTube account to Stephen C. Johnson. What do you think of that? Now, how did they do that? I don't know. We only see what we see. I'm convinced. Thank you, YouTube, for being corrupted. That should be a major lawsuit against you. Major lawsuit. When we realize how many people it's happening to. It's a corrupted industry, isn't it? If we could only see what's really going on behind the scenes of YouTube, Facebook, etc., etc. I had to take what was available. And let's be honest, in my apartment building, everyone knows I got the nicer apartment itself. Maybe one of the nicest apartments in the entire building. So that was a blessing, and I will keep saying that. I love the actual apartment I love if it would be in a location I wanted to live, and we had come and go as you need to parking. That would be nice too. It's been a lot of years, Zot, and Donald Trump and anybody else, Joyce, people of the earth, I feel like I'm a prisoner. I never had the freedom to actually pick where I want to live. I was stuck in how do I survive mode, where everybody was kicking me around, doctors insulting me, and I live in a home now for 4 years working steadily on my music project, and I hurt because I can't come and go as I need to, because if I come and go as I need to and I come home too late, then I might not have a parking space. If I don't have a parking space and I park out back, it's okay to park there, I was told, until the staff comes in early in the morning at 7 o'clock, and if there's nowhere else to park, I gotta go park somewhere else in the neighborhood maybe, right? But not on their property, where they have plenty of room. Township, Harrison Township, you're a bunch of a-holes. There's plenty of room on that property to make additional parking, and before moving all these people in with all of these cars, that should have been in consideration. People want visitors. They want to be able to come and go freely 24 hours, 7 days a week. We're not a slave. We didn't commit a crime. It's not a prison cell. Make additional parking or arrange things that the people who live there, maybe half the tenants have cars and the other half tenants don't. How about having a question on the lease? Do you have a car or do you not? Do you have visitors? Will you have visitors? Really, technically, that's nobody else's business, but what is the answer? The answer is make parking available. You're gonna have the apartments that you have in there, have parking for the tenants so that they can come and go as they need to. Or tell people if you have a car on the application, it should be, if you have a car, know this, we don't have enough parking for the apartments and people with cars. We need a car when we live in Ohio. And it's very disturbing to me that anybody, especially anybody who gets government assistance so that they can have affordable housing for people in need, and they don't want to provide things like enough parking for the tenants that live on the property. It's not fair. And it wouldn't be hard to straighten out. It's a matter of, will people get off their asses and do something about it? And I don't want to upset anybody, because I really appreciate the management in many ways. In other ways, let me tell you, I miss having my own money, literally, that I can do what I want. Then I take care of a personal matter immediately. I have a house, I have an apartment, I take care of it right away. When I lived with landlords before, because I didn't want to buy at the time, can I tell you, as soon as there was something wrong, either A, they took care of it, or B, I took care of it immediately. It is very challenging when you're in a tight financial bind, and you can't just take care of things yourself, and you are at the mercy of other people to take care of things for you. Oh yeah, you want to talk about a humbling season? I'm receiving it, and many other people are as well. I actually, because of my circumstances and working on my music project, I feel, after personal evaluation, it's best for me to move to Columbus, Ohio. The problem is, I don't know the neighborhoods at all, and I need to live in a safe area, and I can't just live in a safe area. This could be the rest of my life move. Could be. The details matter. Joyce Myers, I don't trust God with this one. Remember, the reason why God created Jesus Christ is because God was slaying everybody, drowned out the earth. Okay, God was not the compassionate one until Jesus came along. Trusting God will put your life into danger, serious danger. Maybe she needs to go live on the streets for a season of time and just test the waters. And then just trust when a stranger picks her up, right, and says, hey, you want to go for a ride? And he's a psychopath, like the one we used to have here in Ohio up north. You never, remember, God is everything, Joyce. We don't trust everything. At any given time, this tree could fall down. Trust that the only way one can get through this life is by living in the fruits of the Spirit of Jesus Christ. It's the only way. Some people get it, and some people, they adapt a different way of thinking, I guess. It takes a great deal of patience, love, mercy, forgiveness continuously. I prefer to relocate to Columbus because I am getting varicose vein treatment. Unfortunately, we don't have the best health care, Medicare, Medicaid, right? I should be able to go to any doctor I need to go to for my personal reasons. It's psychological anyway, no matter how you look at it. Anything physically as well, it's a psychological. I want to fix something on my body. Let me fix it. Pay for it. Insurance companies, stop being cheap. If I want to get something fixed on my body, I should be able to go do it. It shouldn't be rocket science. I shouldn't have to beg people. I shouldn't have to argue and fight everybody. We are here to enjoy life. Why in the world didn't we create a system after all these years that we could enjoy our life instead of arguing and fighting whether or not I should get treatment for this or that? And by the way, one of the greatest electrolysis and lasers, who can be frustrating at times, but she is absolutely amazing, lives in Columbus. I don't know of one that lives here in Dayton. I could be wrong. And same with the varicose vein treatment and things like that. But I also want to connect more with people that, trans women especially. And I always wanted to live in a bigger city for many reasons. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be any better there. The details have to be right. I would have been very happy living in town Dayton in a nice home where I could come and go as I need to, parking, and the needs within the establishment were taken care of. When there's a problem in the apartment and I submit a simple slip, problem's taken care of within 24 to 48 hours, end of story. I shouldn't have to wait months, years. I shouldn't have to keep on calling and calling and calling and calling and calling. I shouldn't have to keep on checking and checking and asking and asking. One paper on the computer nowadays, submit, request. Request? How about it needs done? Here it is. This is what the problem is. 24 to 48 hours, somebody will take care of it, okay? We're kind of doing things like a family way where you report things and then sometimes 6 months, a year later, if it's not that serious, we're going to show some things when I get home, what I've been going through, okay? Now, that's not saying anything other than, look, you be the judge about this, all right? You be the judge about it. I personally, where I come from, in my head, being somebody that was very close to landlords and property owners, and I was considering buying property myself, the bottom line is, here's a slip, this is what's going on, or you talk to somebody, this is what's going on, can we get it taken care of? Yeah, it'll be taken care of this week, it'll be getting taken care of in the next day or two. You know, I understand people have things to do, but let's wait in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Even some things take longer than that, or not done at all. The bottom line is, what's the answer? The answer is please. I want to move into a home safely, without being kicked out, without experiencing homelessness again in this life. I want to move to the next place by choice. And I hope it's a decent place to live, that I can live there long term, while I get my life straightened out. And I can focus on my own instead of with an apartment, the stress and the frustrations. Where I can be close to doing things I want to do, right? The place, the location I live in, they didn't design that to live there for poor people. What they call poor, low income. When you lift up Google Map and you look, I'm telling you right now, there's nothing to do. It doesn't even make sense to somebody who used to live in a town within a 3, 4, 5 mile radius. There's plenty of things to do. Just walk around town or something. I would have been better off living in Dayton, or living in Cincinnati, or living in Columbus, or living in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Yeah, that would have been good. Instead of always being the bad person because I was going through a season of homelessness and being mentally abused by a lot of people, by the way, including people that we were taught much differently than their actions have shown me they are. I did discuss about the importance of laws pertaining to intrusion by electronic satellite harassment. I made videos about this. I don't want to ride this too much, but what is wrong with our government if they're not looking at this as serious priority? In my opinion, they are literally targeting, especially what they call worldly poor people. They're targeting them. Even in the apartment building I live in, I literally walked into somebody in a public area within the building that was actually talking to themselves. And I understood this because of things I was going through. And this wasn't only happening there, it was happening with somebody else as well. I am about ready. When I go home, I'm going to share with you symptoms of knowing that you are being targeted by satellite. And it could be that we had a chip put in us at birth and nobody ever knew about it. Medical doctors for years. I don't know this to be true, but it could be a possibility that your babies are chipped. Let me tell you something, mothers, fathers, parents of children, keep a very close eye on your children at all times when they're at the hospital. And know this, don't be surprised if people aren't watching us right now via satellite and they know all the details. They hear us talk, they see through our eyes. So when we're going into our accounts or we're watching something, looking in the mirror, they see all of this stuff. They see what we see, they hear what we hear. According to the people that were coming to me when I was on the streets busking, which is a guarantee that they were watching me via satellite at least. And my whole life story that I shared, I'm telling you what they told me and then what I ended up witnessing while at my apartment. And by the way, I sleep on the floor now every night, and I'm gonna explain why I sleep on the floor. I hate to say it, I would have loved Dayton, Ohio to work out for me, but in my opinion, I am ready to move to a new city and start a new life. I want the respect of living in a safe home that I want to live. I want to receive that excitement again of a home I select. Come and go as you need to parking that's in close proximity to the things I desire in life. I will always love Dayton. However, there are many reasons I think it's really truly best that I move on, and I'll show you one of the reasons, if that's the only reason. And by the way, the insurance state that this place supposedly is, according to the attorneys I spoke to, if the insurance agencies or companies, whoever they think they are owners, weren't so stingy, they could put together insurance plans to cover situations like in the situation I'm in, which is very frustrating to know considering the area's dominancy of a serious issue that insurance companies, in my opinion, should all take care of. And there has to be something that can be done. Now what it is, I don't know the answers. By the way, my name's Tracilyn. I'm a songwriter, I'm a rock and roller, a fun-loving person, an entertainer, and there are other gifts and talents I have. And by the way, in exchange for a beautiful life, there's no reason why somebody like me shouldn't be very well-to-do and I should have my own house, my own property, living where I want to live. I explained with the Tiger lawyers. Can I tell you that when I went in there and I was talking to them, and I have it written down, I ripped it up and I threw it away. I was frustrated. with a situation that happened to me with a parking lot where this lady rammed into the back of my car. I was turned and my head jolted back, giving me whiplash a second time. So it added to a past injury. I was told either $50,000, which is almost what I'm convinced is what they said they were going to get for me when I first went in to talk. They said approximately about $50,000, or I'll tell you it was $25,000, one or the other. Okay, I threw the paper away because I was very frustrated. I might still have it at home because I still have the legal documentations there from this suit. But can I tell you too, it was all said and done about 30, and I was excited, not because I was hurt, but because when he said that, I thought, wow, for this accident, you think that I could really, because I was going I was going to get therapy, chiropractic therapy for this injury for quite some time. Okay, it was a serious injury. I was really hurt. I still have problems, probably in combination from the first and the second accident, not to mention the RTA sign that I smacked my head on. I got my ass kicked since I came to this place, and there's a part of me that says this city to me is a curse. I want to love it. I didn't get one thing I really wanted when I was here except for doing my music. That's it. And it didn't come out with high levels of stress, extreme levels of stress. And I'm freaking sick of it. Okay, I'm doing better with it now because I kind of got adjusted to things 4 years into it. Anyway, with this lawsuit, most likely I could have gotten my SRS, and not only that, I could have moved. And when I came here in 2010, I was living with a girlfriend, Catherine, who was also a transsexual female. I wrote a song for her called 5 Good Reasons after she shared her life story with me. I showed the apartment and everything, and here's the thing. I remember crying to her, and I didn't want to make my problem her problem, but I cried to her, and I said I didn't want to go live with Zod. I didn't want to live with him because why? Because he raped me upon arrival to Beaver Creek. Because I woke up in the middle of the night and he was chanting like a devil worshiper over top of me. This was the same thing I witnessed when I was on the road as an escort, which let me know that Satanists, now either they were using electronic harassment to get Zod, who I call my daddy, and I long gone forgiven, either they were playing with his thoughts, or maybe he possibly was a Satanist. I don't know. Since that, and we're going to talk about legal documentations and everything that were taken from me. Even living at the apartment I'm living at now, okay? There is a lot of things going on in the life of Tracilyn. I need a safe place to live that I want to live. And I have my reasons I don't even want to explain. Also, can I tell you, fitness used to be a huge part of my life. Since I started lifting when I was living on Lafayette Street. Right about 7 years old, I started lifting weights in mine and my brother's room that we shared, looking out at the basketball court. I remember when I first started to curl. My brother got a weight set for Christmas, so I felt bad kind of using it the following summer because it was his Christmas gift. But that was where I went and I was bullied. Remember, I got pushed off my bicycle by 2 guys, and then David Pesta came into my life. Okay, my superhero friend is what I called it. Excited to bring him home to introduce him to my mother. And my brother became best friends with him. That's the place in Lafayette Street, 1332 Lafayette Street is where I started to lift weights. And the reason is because I was tired of being bullied, or I was scared to live in the city. I came from the country where I was connected to God, and my neighbors were Amish and Mennonite. I played with godly children, and then I moved to a city to where people were disobedient. Kids are smartasses. They hurt me. Why? Because I'm a little sissy. Because I'm a kind spirit. I've been working out ever since then, and I went to extremes. And I did that because I didn't understand psychology. That I'm not the outer body or a penis. I'm my thought process. And I was very close to my mother. I'm very femme. I'm very Christ-like. There's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. It's what we've been taught, not taught. With that being said, long story short, I started to get it right when I came out, so to speak. Went from a worldly self that was formed out of pain and hurt, bitterness, and I started to do it out of love of Jesus Christ. and the words of the Holy Bible that supported the truth inside my head. And I continued to work out when I was an escort, and I started sculpting my body now. And if you see some of my photos, you may agree, you might not agree. Some of them are pretty convincing, aren't they? Yes, they are. If you're honest, they are. And other ones, we could work on maybe camera angle a little bit of lighting, right? Of course. Now here's the thing. And when I came out here and I explained I had problems with this place over in Beaver Creek, LA Fitness, LA should sue that fitness center and make it change its name, because the LA that I was taught is a diverse city to live in. Hollywood. Isn't that where all the freaks go? The free people of the earth? Well, let me tell you something. That place today is still just as cocky as the day I went in there. And because it wasn't a super priority to the person I was living with, and I realized I should really, that's an extracurricular activity that, there's a bee. In my opinion, that's something I should take care of once I get a job and stuff, or I get my own free money. The problem is the only way I can get money is if I work for it by being an entertainer. And the cops say, in the country of the United States of America, that's illegal. I can't do that. Okay? I did go to a gym for a little while, then we moved over to Huber Heights, and with me bouncing all over the place and being homeless, not homeless, even when I was on the road as an escort, I was working out and stuff all the time. I come here, and because I'm on a very tight budget, our generous government with their idea of what is realistically the means to survive, as I stand in line for food 3 hours at a time. Donald Trump, I'd like you to come with me to Dayton so I could show you how I get food, because of our government's generosity and consideration for our true needs. I have ideas of my own on how I should be getting food for my belly. Is this why I'm being electronically harassed? Because I'm not afraid to speak, do you think? Is this what they do to people who will speak up? Not against the government, just speak up. I'm not a coward. I will speak freely. How's that? Don't speak freely. Is it get back on the assembly line and or the railroad bed and do what we tell you to? And keep your mouth shut? Is that it? The thing is the fitness centers here, they didn't design where I live to live if you're on limited means. It's a place to live. And I'll show you. I can show you details and really upset a lot of people in the area if they don't want you to know the things like I know. There's lots of area, there's room to do stuff. Nobody does anything. The people I knew back in Pennsylvania, the ones that were having a little bit challenges in Pennsylvania, they could have moved out here to Dayton, Ohio and sued the city and the state so that they could build freely and clean up the mess. Because there's room for all kinds of stuff here in Dayton, Ohio. Because when they picked up and they moved out and left their junk behind, the car dealers, manufacturers, the a-holes that they are, they left their mess behind, a serious mess. And evidently the leaders took off too. So when somebody else comes here, you're not moving into God's very best, you're just moving here. And you start to realize if you have limited means, it's not the most enjoyable place to be. They're starting to build now. Finally, a decade I've been here. And the only reason I'm here for a decade is because I couldn't get my needs met anywhere else. My heart broke. That's how I wrote songs like I wrote. That's how I ended up recording my songs. My story is very unique. I don't hate Dayton, Ohio. I love Dayton, Ohio. I don't like the mentality, especially of the leadership of the state of Ohio. I'll tell them right to their face, I don't like you. You're mean people. Your laws suck. They're not necessarily in favor of true life. Is it because the insurance agencies and the companies? Well, I'll tell you, insurance companies, you suck too. Because we shouldn't have to argue and fight over all the details. We're here to enjoy life. It should be fun. Our needs, and that's on an individual basis, our true needs should be taken care of. Sorry nobody else sees it that way. Open and obvious law. Woohoo! Who made sure that law was in effect? Americans have 360 vision now. And if you don't, you should go get yourself a pair of glasses that says now you do. I'd like to take those insurance agencies and take them for a walk around town as I push them and show them where all this open and obvious laws protect, all right? not the person getting injured. The sidewalks that are lifted, the glass that's all over the place, the roads that need repaired, potholes all over the place, abandoned houses that are extremely highly dangerous if a kid would wander onto that property. Is that open and obvious? The house shouldn't even be there. In some states, those houses would have to be demolished immediately. Hey, Ohio, if you don't want the position to make things justice here for life, I'll take the leadership position, and I'll just start using my hand to sign the laws into effect that say, clean up your slop. Don't just let it behind. We want to look at beauty, not all the junk. You know, abandoned homes and stuff like that, buildings. Corporations. If I were to take this bottle right here and I drink it, look who's sponsoring it. Enon Springs. Never had it before. I hope it's not filled with all kinds of toxins. Now here's the thing, check this out. If I were to drink this in front of a cop in an empty bottle and I throw it out, what do you think he would do? You think I'd be cited, or do you think I'd at least be reprimanded? I hope so. To be honest with you, I hope so. There's a garbage can right there. Put it in the garbage can. Let me tell you something, I can go to places and show you where people just throw trash all over the place. Bottles, broken bottles all over the place. Okay? I'm not better than anyone else. We've all done stuff like this. Okay? And at some points throughout the day, we realize, don't do that. Okay? It's just not nice. Okay? It's not nice. It's not attractive either, you know, to intelligence. And the truth of the matter is, there's animals here. They're beautiful. And they want to live, and they don't want to get this stuff stuck, you know, in their throat and stuff like that. And they can't eat everything that, like, we eat. We shouldn't even eat either. A lot of it. If we really knew what was in this stuff, we wouldn't eat any of it. We'd be scared to eat. Now, there's no local area fitness center directly near me that's walking distance or riding bike. If I want to, I can go to the YMCA in town. That's a blessing. Only you gotta pay for parking on their parking lot. Only it's $25 a month, and when somebody's getting very, very little and they gotta eat and they have medical needs that they gotta take care of, and they're also doing other therapy forms, in my opinion, today, healthcare insurance companies, if a person's on any form of what you call public assistance, and they have Medicare, Medicaid, free membership to any fitness center, because we should, be encouraged to maintain and take care of our health. Insurance companies, do you think you want Tracilyn around for another 50 years if she takes care of herself? I bet you don't. I bet you don't want anybody around, really. Hey, government, Donald Trump, it's time to do something with our health care plan. I'm going to be talking about this in the near future. Same with our food. I should be able to go to any grocery store, and with produce, because I'm on assistance, any store that sells produce and fresh water should be mine for free, because I want to eat. I should have a realistic measure that I can go into a grocery store and get the food I need. I shouldn't have to stand in line for things that are pretty much ready to return back to the earth. So I work out at home, and the one thing that I love about the place that I live, and I will tell you, I'm very thankful. I have my own treadmill in my apartment. I would be lost without it. I'd be going crazy. Living in a tiny little apartment with no real things to do nearby. If I would have lived in town, I'd have plenty to do. I could hang out by the river, could feed the ducks something that they could eat, talk to them, practice on stage. I've been wanting to do that for a while. There's a lot of things I could do if I would have had a nice home in town. With selfish people, you know. I have to figure all this out myself, and since I gotta figure it out, I say move to a bigger city where there's more people in the trans community. I don't know yet where that's gonna be, or back to Pennsylvania where I come from. At least I have my mountain to walk around, city to ride bike in. I mean, it's pathetic when you realize the kind of songwriter I am, and the entertainment abilities I have and the knowledge I have, when you realize the life story I have and what can be utilized, there's a fortune, a mega fortune, an empire within myself. There's no reason why Tracilyn should be on anything except for living fucking high and mighty with the best of everything. Well, more than Tracilyn needs to, and God's word, Holy Bible, needs to fall more in agreement with that. I should sue Joel Osteen for listening to his teachings, for every teaching I heard about how I have to see myself differently, you know. Legal documents. We're going to talk about that when I get home. But I've had legal documents stolen from me ever since I came here, Donald Trump. I think that there should be some kind of documentation within the government that acknowledges it for my future generations, that legal documentations of Tracilyn Michael, once known as Todd Michael Arndt, and then my name was legally changed in the Pennsylvania courts to Todd Michael, who is a very well-known solo acoustic music entertainer from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, right? And then I transitioned from male to female and became Tracilyn Michael. Wow, this should all be on record because since I came here, my legal documentation for my transgendered surgery that I had done in Cleveland, urology, not to mention my driver's licenses, were taken. Yes. And not to mention, my birth certificate was taken while I was living with Zot Barazzato at 7111 Brant Vista Avenue in Huber Heights, Ohio. And then after Zot visited my apartment where I live now, shortly thereafter I looked in my filing cabinet and I found my other birth certificate. It mysteriously reappeared. Not to mention, I learned that somebody broke into my apartment that evidently had access through a key to my apartment, meaning past tenant maybe. But it wasn't the past tenant, all right? I would never accuse that. How about somebody was watching me via satellite and somehow they got access to past keys that were used at the apartment I live in? And maybe the lock was never changed before or after I moved in until I acknowledged that somebody broke into my apartment. And then, thank goodness, we got that taken care of. The cameras were mysteriously out too, in the hallway. I wonder who it was that went into my apartment and took my legal documentations. Or you think, Joyce Myers, you think I should trust God with this one? Imagine people trying to take your personal identity. Why is that? Because I'm a songwriter and I have copyrights in the government copyright office? You think that's it? You think the people in the music entertainment industry that cross paths with me on the street may want their future generations to be rich off of people like me? They think they're easy to take advantage of? My question is, to the people in the entertainment industry, do you think I'm easy to take advantage of because of my circumstances? So we're ready to go home now, and we're going to go over our list. Check it out. I'm looking forward to sharing it. This is a beautiful park. It's a beautiful day. And can I be honest? I never intended to continuously share my life story. But since I met Stephen C. Johnson, who had invited Willie Nelson's, is it Lucky Films? There were people within the crew of Willie Nelson and his production company invited to the home. I got to meet them. And can I tell you that I'm convinced that these a-holes, Willie Nelson included, are criminals. And I believe that they target people they think are mentally ill or less fortunate. And if that's true, Willie Nelson, may a curse come upon your head in the very near future. Not to mention, one of his friends, Toby Keith, was really good friends with a songwriter I met in Philadelphia that I talk about in a song. And not to mention, I met Bret Michaels by people asking me to go to see him. And it's so funny, Bret Michaels, I seen your video with Miley Cyrus. You did a version of Every Rose Has Its Thorn just like me and my cousin did throughout my life. What it appears to me is when I gave you my CD, Mr. Michaels, you were observing me and watching my website. Very close, maybe closer than I care for you to watch me. And then you used my ideas when I took the transitional steps. You better wouldn't have used my songs. If you did, I'll find out, Mr. Michaels. All right, here we go. We are heading off. We're going home. Got a lot to talk about yet. I am going to actually go home. As much as I do not want to do it, I just had a small slice of pizza at a store. I'm going to make another slice of pizza. I might even get a Pepsi. It's not good. It's just not good. I drink Diet Pepsi once in a while. Yeah, and it's not necessarily the best for me. But I'm excited because I get to share all this, including the dreams I had with Trump and Bon Jovi, Poison. Wow. I think that's electronic harassment. You know, it's pathetic when you were born and raised, you didn't know any better, you were bullied your whole life, you liked any band or lots of bands, they were on your wall. You met a few of them as you went through life. I think that's a blessing, right? Wow, I got to meet people I watched on television or on the radio I listened to, or I had cassettes of, or you were on my bedroom wall. Isn't that cool? Of course it's cool. It is cool, but it's not so cool when you start to realize that maybe not all of them, but some of these people are extreme high levels of users, to the point that there are people of the world that most likely killed themselves at one time because they were literally being targeted and bullied by people in the music industry who might be on the radio for the last 30 years plus, and other people worship. Stop worshiping them. They're not worth it. Period. They're not worth it. They're not better than anyone else. Pay attention into your local communities. There are people they call starving artists who are working their butt off night and day, and guess who's coming along and swiping ideas from them? There's a good chance they'll tell you straight up that that's what they do. And until you're in that position and you hear the side story of somebody who goes through it, you have no idea how to really perceive what is happening. Know this, I will tell you, and I would tell them to their face, it's a sign of weakness if an artist has not already put their stuff out into the atmosphere. It's okay at that point to be inspired by it, in my opinion. It's there. You're going to receive inspiration from it. There's no doubt about it. But when people go to extreme high levels to invade your privacy, it's a whole nother story. Especially when somebody has been going through an extremely high level of difficult times in life, and you learn that some of these people are invading your privacy. It does not sit well with you, coming from somebody who knows. During my times of weakness, I got to meet some of these people. Some of them I'm okay with. For instance, I met Chris Christopherson when I was at Fountain Square. I don't have a problem, even if he was invading my privacy. Do you know why? I don't know why. I have no idea. Even if he was, it wouldn't bother me. But I don't see him as one that made way like other people that I have evidence of. And I can show you. And I don't appreciate. Even if it was only after I released stuff, which is not true. But even if it was only after, I don't even want them looking at me. In fact, I gotta be honest, wherever I end up living, I personally want to have legal documents drawn up that certain people in the entertainment industry can't come in within an X mile radius of where I live. In fact, I don't think they should be allowed to come to my state, wherever I live. Who knows? Maybe that's what life is for. You ever hear that song, That's What Life Is For? That's what love is for? Is that really? Whoever sings that, maybe that's what my life is for. Is to smack some of these worldly rich people back in place where they belong. Get out of DC, go back to New York. John, you stay in New Jersey. Brett, where are you from? Do you even know? Because a lot of people pretend they're from California, they pretend they're from here, they pretend they're from there, Are they really? And Sammy Hagar, that's a good one in The Greatest Songwriters Live in Nashville. I would like to take your curls. My personal opinion is I would like to take your curls and straighten them out for you. That leads a lot of people into trenches. When people in positions that are considered of high end up telling you that all the great people live here or they live there, that causes people who are looking up to you to go crazy and go to these places. And I am here to tell you straight up that wherever somebody surrenders to God and says, I am the greatest songwriter, there you go. It's not a physical place. It's a mental acknowledgement that you are a great songwriter, Sammy. And to be honest with you, we all heard your songs you have a few pretty incredible ones, but the majority really aren't that good. Okay? That's coming from somebody who can outright you and many others who have been around for far too long. Alright, we're going home now. It's a beautiful day. Check this out. Sometime I am hoping to get my earbuds, my sound system. I love this stage and I don't know if they're ever going to take it down. If they do, which I think I'm going to walk up here right now. You want to walk with me? Let's walk here. Do you know what I want to do? I'm going to leave my water here. I'm going to walk up to the stage and let's see if I can get myself arrested. I am going to take a little piece of the stage home with me because I know that Dayton has built new stages in town, and I want you to know that I think that's absolutely remarkable. I love music, and there's a lot of people that I'm sure really appreciate that very much. But if I were going to play anywhere in Dayton, Ohio at any given time, because this stage has touched my heart, minus all the goose poop all over the place, this is a stage I would play on. Why is that? I don't know. I love the scenery, that's number one. Maybe it's because many other reasons. Psychological evaluation in order, do you think? Maybe I'll do another video here someday, and if it was up to me, maybe someday I'll sneak up here and do it, see if I can get myself arrested. I'd like to have my name engraved in this stage. Especially if I move to Columbus. I would like to do it before I move. Hear that? Wouldn't it be really cool to put on a huge concert here? Like, I don't mean small, and I mean huge. Huge concert. Huge PA system, lots of cabinets, lighting system. What do you think would happen? Do you think this place would collapse? I don't know. I don't know if it would or not. But this is where I made my music video. Look. I don't know when this stage was made. I don't know if they have the history on it. But for anybody in Dayton, Ohio, in honor of Don Bassett, is that it? In honor of Don Bassett, who organized and has conducted the municipal band since 1933. So this must have been like orchestra or something, is that it? Instrumental. Has provided 33 years of consecutive summer music programs. Now look at that. I don't know if they have a name of it, if they call this anything specific, but evidently they must have done all kinds of musical ensembles here at one time. And I don't know how it would be for, like, you know, with bug in the ear. You have problems with bugs, you know, bees or something. I don't know myself, you know, what it would be like with cabinets and stuff. My goal, musically, is I want to play theaters. I want to tour and play theaters, beautiful theaters. But I also want to record my music. And since I've learned that the tough guys of rock and roll that were once on my bedroom wall invade my privacy, most likely, the odds are I have 3 more albums to do, 1 album of remakes of some of the songs, and I have 1 album of cover songs of the ones that touched my heart the most that I would like to record. And once I'm done with that, the odds of me ever doing another project again, unless I am a millionaire by then, is not. And the reason why is it because of the money? Nope, has nothing to do with that specifically. It's I do not want to go through the life I did, reach out to as many people in the music industry as I did, have all the no's that I received, and then find out that my privacy is being invaded and they're using my likenesses and stuff for people like Miley Cyrus. Okay? I don't want to hear that. I have and I had amazing ideas. And it's not because of who I went to talk to. The bottom line is I've learned that when you are a great songwriter, you're an advocate or you speak, you're unique, people have means to be able to invade your privacy. Use your ideas, whatever they are, great or small to you and to your friends. They may be petty, but it's your life. It's intended for you to live. And there's no laws in America that protect people like me, creative artists, or others. It's just like on social media when they block all the content. They change the view counts. I had people within Facebook, and I believe that there is somebody who has direct access to my account and they can do whatever they want with it, like it's their own account. Disconnect me from other people on Facebook, duplicate other profiles, and text me. In other words, bully, 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 harass, 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 mentally confuse. There needs to unfortunately be other ways because people are overstepping their bounds. Unfortunately, the reason why a lot of laws have to be made in our country or just in life in general is because people way overstep their bounds. They're greedy, 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 greedy people. Very selfish. Obviously, this thing has been around for a while, and I don't know what I'm gonna take yet. What do you think? I want some blue. Do you want some blue? You want some blue. Do I want to get it from the stage? It'd be great to have a stage like this with your name on it, wouldn't it? Especially mine with the acute font, the ankle. Jeez, imagine showing up for a show and your name's written out on the floor. Wouldn't that be hot? And what do? Do you put on a show or do you just rock and roll and have fun? Does it matter? Do you think it matters? When you go to a concert, what do you care about the most? Do you care about the songs you're hearing? Do you care because you got to meet the songwriter? Do you care because you got to meet the guitar players? Do you care because whether or not they looked at you in the eyes when they were performing? Do you care whether or not they smile at you? Like directly, you know that they just smiled at you. How do you feel if they ignore you when you go to their concerts? You're trying desperately to get their attention. Does it hurt? Do you get mad? You say, oh, that sucked. Or do you keep it to yourself and you don't share it with your friends? You know? Is it fun for you to flash people? Lift your and show your breast? Boy, girl, whatever you are? Do you like to show your body off to them? Do you give them a tongue and make funny faces? When you go to a concert, what do you look forward to the most? I'd be curious to know. Do you always try to get up front? Or do you prefer to be up higher and looking down so you can see everybody having fun? You like sitting in the back more? Do you like to see television screens? What are things that you appreciate and enjoy? Would you rather see a concert at nighttime when there's light? Do you like to see fireworks behind the stage or off to the side of the stage? Would you rather go to a concert where there's a lot of people on stage, dancers, or just a band? Not just a band, but would you rather see like a 5-piece band? Or would you like to see a big band? What impresses you the most when you go to see a live performance? Do you like loud volume? Or do you like the richness? Feeling the kick drum through the cabinets? And the bass? Do you like that? Or do you like screaming guitars? And crazy personalities? Do you like when they jump into the crowd? Do you like to see them being tossed around? Or do you like when they walk down and they make their way into the crowd? Do you like when they invite you on the stage? Or do you like it even better when you say, hey, to the security, and the security says, what? You say to the security, the band people, what? Bring that one to me. Bring her up here. Bring him up here. Bring them up here. Do you like to sing on the stage with people? Or do you like when they come down and they kneel down to you with the microphone? And you're on camera too, and then you're on the big screen. Do you like feeling included when you go to a show? And what do you think is the best way to help others within the venue area, staging area, to feel included? I've seen now that they make stages going out. When I saw AC/DC in 2010, that's what I remember seeing. I thought that was really cool. Because sometimes it sucks when you get a ticket way back there and they're way up here, you know? Then you walk around and sometimes you risk getting in trouble, maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're usually very nice, as long as you're not disturbing anything, right? Do you like to be backstage? Do you like to watch from the side? Or when they have rafters or something up here? Do you ever see like balcony seating? Do you like that? Would you rather stand or would you rather sit? Does it matter? Do you like to come stoned to see a band? Do you like to be stoned? Do you like to drink? Do you like to be sober? Lots of water? Don't want to pass out? Don't want to be dehydrated? Don't do that. Do you get your favorite band's t-shirts? Do you want to have them sign it? Do you hope to go over here, like in the back, right? Do you want them to sign autographs or take pictures? You put a whole bunch of RVs back here, couldn't you? I don't know if they'd like that here on the lawn. Camping, a weekend getaway. And maybe some people, they don't sleep here for various reasons and they show up in a limousine or something, or maybe they show up in what, a golf cart? A mini bike? A moped, a scooter? A bicycle? Maybe they just walk and say, I had to park up the road. Maybe? I don't know. I'm asking you. What do you like when you're at a concert? What turns you on? Like if you had the opportunity to go to one concert this year, any concert of your liking, and you could personally set up the details, what would you like to witness? Maybe it's a 2-day concert. What if you could actually set up, you could win an opportunity to personally set up the details to a weekend concert? All the recording artists, like you would have a whole lot of them. You think that would cause jealousy amongst them? Wouldn't that be fun? Huh? Test them? Where are their egos at? Could they handle it? They didn't even get selected at all. Oh, we don't want that to get around, do we? We better keep that private. Egos could get hurt very easily. Livelihood, some of them. You could set up. It's beautiful here. I don't know what this stage is capable of. Do you think it'll collapse sometime? I hope not. Probably should be gone over very carefully, making sure, right? I don't know if they're going to ever get rid of this stage or not. I hope not for me, my sake, but if that's what's best, who knows what's best. I guess the people that, lead Dayton. You got the river, look at that. I think I shared this before. Plenty of places for barbecue. In-town Dayton looks really cool too, don't it? It's a newer stage. I forget what it is, Levette or something like that. Has a big name on the back. Knowing and understanding the power of word. God, I wouldn't want to stand in front of nobody else's name but my own. It's the name I serve in this lifetime, Tracilyn. Tracilyn, all one word. And if you understood the power of word, maybe you wouldn't use a fake username on a social media site, but you'd start to make things right in your personal life, whatever that is, boy, girl, whatever you are, however you identify. A person, a human, a life form. You'd select a name that you really love. You'd understand that that's what you're here to serve, your God form. And magic happens when you attach yourself to it. And sometimes you gotta make a lot of sacrifices and let go of a lot of stuff. And sometimes you gotta cross paths with other people and say, there's no name greater than my own that I serve, Tracilyn. For me, that's Tracilyn. For you, it might be Philip. It might be Lindy. Lindy, never heard of it. Leah, I heard her name today. Could be Leah. Could be Lisa. Could be Matthew. Margaret. Isn't that cute? My grandmother's name was Margaret. You thought I was laughing about it. I'm not laughing. My grandmother's name was Margaret on my father's side. And Bruce, And the name that my mom gave me, I don't mean disrespect. I love my mother very much. I was always intrigued by the two names. It was either going to be Jeffrey Scott, me. I was either going to be Jeffrey Scott, Arndt, or Todd Michael Arndt. And my mom liked Todd Michael much more. I can imagine it hurt her when I took a new name, a name that meant something for me. Deep meaning. Still Todd Michael Arndt. If I were to be honest, it means something to me because it's a name my mother gave me. And I love it for that reason, and not that reason only, but for those years of my life. But as I came into Christ, the honesty of it was God gave me a new name. And God says in the Bible, I will give you a new name, and you will be famous. Doesn't say how it's going to happen. And let me tell you something, if you go into Bible Gateway, and you type it in and you don't see it, you need to contact Bible Gateway representatives and you need to tell them to get that in there. Because I used to look it up, and when I was talking to myself in the privacy of my home, I looked up that verse on Bible Gateway and it showed up. It's there. It's in the Bible. But can I tell you something? It was within a few days after that week, I looked it up again and it's not there anymore. Do you know why? Because they took it out of the search engine. Because they don't want too many people to realize the kind of God that we're really here on this earth to serve. It's the God that will give us a new name. And we will be famous. Now, what does that mean to you? It's up to you what that means. What your belief system is, that's your reality. And let me tell you something. There's heaven and hell on this earth, in my opinion. And there's love, unconditional, and there is complete opposite. I believe that love unconditional wants us to choose life every day And it wants us to stay away from the things that take us away from the life that is intended for us. And the life that is intended for us is our inner desires in our mind. What we really want to do with our life. It's not up for somebody else. It's not up to President Trump. It's not up to your governor or the Secretary of State. It's not up to your mother, your father, your brothers to tell you what life is to you. And it's very unfortunately that sometimes in our way back to becoming true to our heart, we find ourselves either confused at times, maybe, or certain that we understand exactly the things that are going on. Things like our education system has failed us in our time of true need, the guidance necessary to empower us so that we can become. There's no reason why on this earth in America that anyone should be poor. There is plenty here in America to feed, to house. There's plenty of work. The problem is, how do we get the right people there to work? The ones who really want to do something like that position. For instance, imagine putting on a huge show at a place like this. Not necessarily here. What's all involved in it, do you think? Maybe you know somebody. Do you know any of the details? Transportation's one of them. Think a sound crew and stage crew, lighting crew, musicians, dancers, hosts, security. Think of all the different positions just in putting together even one concert, let alone going on tour all over America, let alone possibly even going to other countries like Japan. When I was a kid, my hero on the television set at my grandmother's in New Bunker Hill was the giant robot. And I remember as a little kid, when the reruns evidently, I'm assuming, were on, and I didn't know this as a little kid, that they were reruns. And I watched it faithfully. It was one of the reasons I looked forward to going to my grandmother's house. As I cried, I loved my mom very much. I was a spoiled little sissy. I did not want to leave my mother's side. It was harder for me to deal with it then because people perceive that as a negative thing. And can I tell you, when I look back, I'm glad I was wrapped around my mother's hip, around my mother's leg. I was always at her feet. She would even tell you that I was always at her feet. She would insist, please go play with your matchboxes, go outside and play. It's not that I don't love you. Basically, she needs a break. But I loved her very much. And she would tell me sometimes it seems like the umbilical cord was never cut. So you can imagine the stress I put into her life. But I just really loved her and I wanted to be with her. And I don't really understand the details as to why. I just loved her. No understanding needed, in my opinion. So I don't want her to feel guilty for that. And I don't want to feel guilty either, but, you know, I realize that I'm really a loving person, and I do go the other way, and a lot of it is usually because of pain and frustrations and lack of understanding, pain, hurt, and one of the things that used to piss me off is because I was in the music industry for a long time, and can I tell you, I started off on the right path in junior high school. All I wanted to do is play guitar and have a front row ticket to smile at everyone. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to be there, in my opinion, all over the world. Just playing guitar and smiling and seeing everybody else laugh and sing. I come from a family of worship leaders, by the way, and I've learned that it's not about talent. I don't need talent to stand on the stage. It's just inside of you. That's what you want to do. And some people have everyone has a different presentation. How's that? Everyone has a different presentation. The problem is what happens when you get into the commercial music and stuff is we start being shown an idea that's an illusion of BS, that this is talent. And the truth of the matter is we know that when I hear this, where's that talent coming from? Where do you think it's coming from? Do you hear it? Is that a locust? Is that a cricket? Did you hear it? That's natural, baby. Don't be so sure that humans aren't any different than what I just heard right there. And that is that we sing. We sing, we dance, we jubilee, we celebrate, and we take turns. For what? To be free. Just to be free. Sometimes it feels like you gotta go to DC, doesn't it? And you need to ring the doorbell or knock on the door and say, I need to speak to the president. And why is that? Because this is my free time. I need a permission slip that I can be free and do the things in life I desire to do without being harassed. I shouldn't have to keep fighting to stay alive. When I go to move, and I will, as I'm working on my next album, Ragtop Cadillac, it's gonna be 10 songs. I have a couple redos of some of those versions of songs already in my mind. As it comes together, I'm gonna start looking for a new home. I'm thinking in Columbus. I may end up staying here in Dayton, but I have to live in a location that I want to live so I can enjoy my life and continue to work on my art, my music. I need to come and go freely. And if something needs fixed in my home, I need it fixed. I shouldn't have to explain it. I need it fixed. The way it is when I get the apartment is the way it should look the day I leave the apartment. And while I'm living there, it should be the same. In other words, if there's a problem, it should be taken care of, in my opinion. Other people would very much disagree with you, or me. Nevertheless, I'm going to take a piece here. I brought a lot of questions to play. This is my favorite stage, and the day they would wreck it, if they ever do, take it down. I hope they save a big chunk of it and put it somewhere special, maybe out here. Maybe some people say don't be so sentimental. I don't know. I think it's beautiful. You know, maybe needs a new paint job or something, some fixing up. If it's ready to go, it's ready to go, if that's what they say. How about if I take just a piece of that off for now, and I can look here for a little stone or something, a little bit of concrete, and take that home with me. Maybe when I move to Columbus, I can keep it with me as a very special moment in my life. I may not get to see this ever again. And a lot of that is not because of my own doing. It's because the harshness of living in America. The leadership in our country is pathetic. And I will tell each and every one of them that. There's no reason why somebody like me, and there's many of us out there, should be poor and in suffering. It's the greed. They send us through a school system, but I guarantee you, their children aren't going through that same school system. Do a background check. Why would they do that? They raise them differently. Heck, if they're lucky and they're fortunate, they have real parents, they might say, do you want to go to a public school? Or do you want to just be homeschooled? Because really you don't need nowhere near as much time wasted in your life going to school to learn nothing. But if you want to socialize and waste time, here's a good place to go. Go to your local city school. You'll learn nothing that's really necessary to stay alive in your time of need, and you most certainly will be able to waste time maybe with people you love. Notice that a lot of people, one of the first things they do into their 20s, into their 30s, is they leave the city, finally, that they're in. Why is that? Because their wheels are turning. There's things left undone that they need to do in this lifetime. And the problem is, we're applying the things we've been taught, and then we fall into agreement with crazy people on the television like they know what they're talking about. Can I ask you something? Do you watch people like Oprah? And what do you think of her? Do you think she knows the answers? What makes her God of the human mind? I'm sure she's a beautiful, nice person, right? I used to joke around and say, I'd be on the Oprah show, but I never watched Oprah. I just say it out of commonality because of other TV shows and movies and actors and stuff that I heard talking. That's my honesty. These people on television and stuff, they're not God of the human mind, of the thought process. Okay? Don't look to people. Open up the Holy Bible. By the way, your government wants to remove the Holy Bible from the general masses. Do you know why? Because it'll show you that the only leader that is true, consistent, and impartial for you is Jesus Christ. And with that being said, when you look to the Trump family as resolving any kind of issues, even in your own city, guess what? You're not going to do it, kid. You're on your own. They might even whisper it to you when they're walking by. We have other matters to take care of, and that is to keep the general masses entertained. with an illusion that they have any say in anything that happens. They're kind of like magicians, okay? Voting, do you think it matters? Then vote against the Trumps when it comes to the sun. If anything, put your foot down. Say, in this world, in America, with millions of people, there's somebody better qualified for it than somebody in the Trump family. There really is somebody. God can empower other people to be intelligent. We don't need the Trumps or the Bush family leading us into the trenches. Okay? Think of it. Because I'll tell them that, and I'll tell you that. I just did. I guarantee if you pick up the Bible and you start reading it, you're going to find out that maybe you're the next president, and you're the one who won't be a coward to sign certain bills in favor for life. And maybe you will see to it that the people who are electronically harassing other people are being handled by the measure they offer the lives of others. That's appropriate to Old Testament, and that's what they're worthy of. Do you realize why Jesus Christ was created? All this is God, everything in the whole wide world. You and me, we're all God, we're all connected. We're all made of the same substance. And words is the directness of our relationship with God, every word you see. Be careful on how you perceive that word. And know this, the real heaven here on this earth is in your mind. It is the absolute truth as to who you are and what you're here on this earth to fulfill. All your likes and dislikes, whether they be sexual, whether they be relational, whether they be, you want to go for a run? Right now, in the moment. Let me tell you something. Once you start stepping into your true life self, it'll look much different than everyone else. Why? Because we all fell into the pool of worldly self. We all went to city schools, the majority of us anyway. There you go. Don't believe everything you're taught. With that being said, you will find out that when you start surrendering to your truth, and you're desperate, the only way you can get through this life is living in the fruits of Jesus Christ. That's what I've learned. And if you don't feel that way at this time, then in a way I'm thankful to hear that from you and I'm happy for you. But in my opinion, then you haven't really surrendered to the truth as to why you were designed and created by your own creator. If you're still submitting to man's becking call on what should be done around the house, what should be done in your country, that you should be paying taxes, that you should be working in order to live or to have the means to eat. You're not walking in and just grabbing a bite to eat, drink. I'm not telling you to be a criminal, okay? There are other ways. And the ways we've been taught is ways of slavery. Ways of slavery. If you were to go and talk to your local prisoners in the prisons within our states, you would probably find out, if they were to be honest, how corrupted. Remember, they committed a crime that says by law, they should be imprisoned. However, that's where the punishment should really technically stop. They're doing their time, institutionalized, and here's the thing. If a cop oversteps their bounds by mistreating them, then they should be sharing the same cell block for a season of time as an inmate. Would you like that? Now, let's just remove the holsters and the badge. You won't be needing that here. It ain't gonna help you. By the way, this is the one you were tormenting every night and day that you were on duty. I only went through mild forms of it. I wouldn't want to go through what they're going through. My hat's off to them. Johnny Cash. Wait till you hear my version of a Johnny Cash song. I'm going to be playing in front of thousands of people. Major tour. My music is going to be worldwide distributed. Because a company that has a very reputable reputation in the industry fields of music per se is going to see to it that I get the very best of everything, because this is for God. Why? Because I say it's for God. And I worked my ass off, and I have something that's marketable. It's way better than a lot of the majority of what you hear on the radio. And by the way, for every time you hear a Bon Jovi song or a Tim McGraw or any but Toby Keith, know this, that could be somebody else's spot with a song. And when that song gets played on the radio, there's what there's called royalties, which goes to the writer and it goes to the publisher. And if that writer owns both the publishing and the writing royalties, that means 100% of the royalties for that song go to that person. Why do you want to make Tim McGraw and his companions wealthy? What the hell did he ever do for you? What did Sammy Hagar do for you? You want to go to their concerts and you want to continue to feed the brats. Go right ahead. But know this, there's other people in this world who have fallen on extreme high measures of a hard time, and other people in the music industry are using them as a resource to stay in with the times. And I would say that to any one of them. It's my time. I've been neglected, abused. I put hard labor in. I wrote songs. I have reason to sing the blues. If for any other reason, I'm not worldly rich. But I'm going to be extremely wealthy. And know this, when you hear my song on the radio, you'll know I went through hell to make that a reality. Don't be fooled if some of these people are spoiled little rich bitches that had everything given to them most of their life. They make shit up as they go. Whoop-de-doo. Chances are the only hard life they really know is what? Waking up and doing what they love to do the most, rock and roll. We all had our hard times, Tracilyn. I know. And now it's time to step aside, because there's a whole new generation of recording artists. And let me tell you something, they don't want to sign sour deals. Do everything yourself for a season. If you're a recording artist and a writer, do everything yourself. And then go out on the streets, outside. Start pretending to be a rock and roller and perform, and you will see that people are watching you via satellite, and some are for you and some are not for you. And messengers will come by with messages, and you will start to realize that they're invading your privacy. And then they'll start to rub things in your faces as they use your ideas for people like Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Madonna, Bret Michaels, Bon Jovi, stuff like that. And why is that? I don't know the answer to that, but you should be informed, and you have to come to your senses and wake up and realize that if you turn on the radio or you turn on the television and it's the same person that was there 20-some years ago plus, Steven Tyler, really? That same song on the radio? Is that what you want to listen to the rest of your life? I got a question for you. Do you want to hear that same song for the rest of your life? Do you think that's the only great song in the whole world? Maybe you have something to say. Maybe you have something to sing. Think about it. And why is the industry so dominated by, tough guys? Sissies, like me, are about ready to snap towels and become. Don't ask me how. It might not be me. It might be other people. And it should be. And it shouldn't be related to these people. Should we see Steven Tyler's children, or Bon Jovi's children, or Sammy Hagar's, Van Halen's, do you think? Really? Is that the next generation of rock and rollers? Ooh, Ozzy Osbourne's kids. Why? Because we liked Ozzy Osbourne, now we should like all of his children? What if we're honest and we say, well, I think they suck. I like Ozzy Osbourne, but his children suck. Okay? Well, then be honest and say it. And then don't support them, okay? Because they're not the only people on this earth that can write. And once you made a rich man rich and he holds on to his finances and he has some kind of a level of intelligence, he can make his whole family rich for generations to come. Okay? Don't be rich in the world's way. Be rich in God's ways, and know these people aren't any more worthy of any position in this world than we are. Period. And just because Elvis Presley was Elvis Presley, we all heard Lisa and we love her. And now she has her children coming. Oh, isn't that wonderful? That's just great. And should we praise them too? The king's granddaughters. Woo! Well, I serve a king that's far greater than any king on this earth. And so do you, whether you know it or not. Whoop-de-doo. That's what you say when you see the king's granddaughters. Be respectful, but say whoop-de-doo. We heard your mother sing. Okay, next. Don't want to be an asshole to anybody. I'm just saying. Just because these people were around, you don't know how they stuck around. Okay? And by the way, from what I've seen, a lot of my ideas that I was using in my own personal life ended up all over the place, including even in Graceland. Elvis Enterprise, do you think I appreciate that? I got a great song called Ragtop Cadillac coming soon. It's magnificent. It praises the spirits of the 50s, the spirit of the 50s, period, which isn't Elvis. It's the spirit of the 50s, which is Jesus Christ. Freedom, enjoyment, godliness. Anyway, Tracilyn, I'm out of here. Big concert. What would you do? Leave comments down below and stop feeding the lions, is it? Stop feeding. They can feed themselves now. On the radio, let's start banning people that are related to people who have already been on the radio, period. You're gone. Okay, that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, which should have been number 1, so we can say pre-1, is if your song has been on the radio longer than 10 years, realistically, gone. Look, you got your website, you got other means, and know this, that YouTube and the social media pages, that's all crammed down your throat. They lie about that. Whenever you see a band with 2 billion hits on it, I'm telling you right now, they don't have 2 billion hits. That's some pudge ball that's behind the scenes changing the view counts to 1 billion hits, while taking somebody else's and taking it from several thousand hits, which is modest. It's real, right? To only, what, 120? Why don't they just remove it? Well, they do. Trust me, they do. Why? Because I like to flirt my body. There's nothing wrong with that. God gave it to me, baby. And God lives in your mind, okay? I love you. We got a lot to talk about. I'm glad I made this video today. I needed it. Leave many comments down below. Tracilyn, am I gonna get arrested for this? I hope not. We want to find ourselves, what? A stepping stone. Do you want to see me take this? A stepping stone, a stepping stone, a stepping stone, a stepping stone. Here we go for now. It's the biggest one I could see. I love you, and do I think that this should be here? Yeah, it's up to the leadership of the place. I would like to play here before they take it down. Big band, huge show. Gigantic. Find out in the years to come. Hopefully I'll do one more video on here before I would move out of the area. Alright, I love you. Thank you for listening to my video. Hit the like button if you like it. Share it with others. Please don't be upset with me. I should call this Tracilyn Vent. Ventilation. Tracilyn's venting. Something to do with that. Because it's very therapeutic. You don't want all this stuff building up in your mind. It causes a great deal of pain and suffering. We're called to speak freely. Be a vessel for God, and sometimes what comes out, you don't want to purposely hurt people, but it may hurt other people because you're speaking facts of truth. We live in America, we should share. Nobody's greater than anybody else. Nobody's worthy of $100 million home while another person is living homeless on the street. And when a person walks up to you and they have multi-millions of dollars and all kinds of resources, and the best they can do is what? Whatever they think is the best that they can do, get the clown out of town. You know what I'm saying? Get the clown out of town. That's what I would say. I would pick it. When I moved to Columbus, for instance, and I hear that Bon Jovi's gonna be at the arena or something, I'll make a big sign that says, get the clown out of town.